Oh, it's nice to be out in the sunshine, but it's quite cold today. And in fact, there's even frost on the grass. Wasn't expecting that. Anyway, decided it would be a good day to try out my new giant suit. Skin suit they call it, although it's not particularly skin tight. And when I say giant, I mean it's giant branded, it's not really big. Well, I got this new kit on the Vinted for very little money. For those of you that don't know, Vinted is a website, an app, where people sell their second-hand clothes. And, well, more than clothes, all sorts of bits and pieces, but mainly clothing. And when I say second-hand, quite a lot of it is new. People buy things, they don't fit, buy things, find they haven't worn them, and they sell them on. I actually get quite a lot of cycling clothing on Vinted, but the stuff is really expensive. And as you get older, you have to be a little bit more careful with your cash, because you haven't got as many years of work in front of you to be able to regenerate your funds. Branded clothing is usually more expensive, quite a lot more. It's one of the biggest coups that the marketing people have managed to pull off. Not only to get you to advertise for them, but to pay for the privilege. And if you want to, I don't know, get a football shirt from your favourite team, it costs an absolute fortune. And it's got the sponsor's logo on it. And you wouldn't buy it if it didn't have the sponsor's logo on it. And, you know, it is nice to have a bit of branded stuff, because you kind of feel a connection. You know, if you really like your bike, then you like to tell everybody that. And so you put on branded kit. And my brother rides an Orbea. And I'll be honest, I don't think he'd ever buy another branded bike. And then on top of that, there were some brands that we associate with quality, with being a bit better. Some brands genuinely are better than others. And it's got nothing to do with cycling, but in the main, Apple products are really good. They're outrageously expensive, but generally they are really good. And the company succeeds because of that, because whenever somebody criticises them for their high prices, they go, yeah, but look what you're getting. Oakley sunglasses generally are really good. And so you can justify spending the money. They're going to last you a long time. And I guess really you could put Pinarello in that category. I haven't come across anybody who ever regretted buying a Pinarello. And yes, they cost a lot of money, but yeah, they work. Good quality. In the motoring world, one of the most desirable brands is Jaguar Land Rover. And yet, they have one of the worst reliability records. And I have come across several people who have bought a Jaguar or a Land Rover and regretted it. You know the old joke, 60% of Land Rovers ever made are still on the road. The rest of them made it home. But quite often when you buy, I don't know how we could put it, halo brands, desirable brands, the quality is no better. And again, that's just another marketing coup. Now the marketing people have managed to persuade you that the brand is something you want. Never mind the product, you want that name, you want that logo on the item you're buying. And of course some of it is just showing off. Some of it is just to show other people, look at me, look what I've got. But more important than that, it's about being taken seriously. Because if you've got the name on your shoes or on your shirt or whatever it might be, then people will know that you're a serious cyclist. And that is quite common. And look, some stuff, you know, there is a difficult balance to strike because some stuff is rubbish. I've bought some cheap cycling jerseys off Amazon, and they're just rubbish. I've also bought some very expensive items on Vinted. When I say expensive, I mean retail price. And they're no better than the mid-level stuff. As I said, one of the biggest marketing coups is getting you to pay to advertise. A sweatshirt for £10. Or you can get one with a Nike tick on it for £60. And the other thing is, a lot of the branded clothing, and when I say branded, I'm talking about things that you do the advertising for them, and then on top of that, there's the desirable brands. And a lot of these are made in poor country sort of sweatshops. And the companies lie to you and they'll say, oh yeah, well, you know, we've got to do it because we need to stay competitive. We've got to move our manufacturing offshore. So they get something made for £2 and they sell it to you for 80. All of the costs that they've saved on manufacturing, they don't pass that on to you. They pass that on to their bank account. There's a company that went into liquidation. I can't remember where it was, but they were making clothing for the big brands. And the company went into liquidation, so the staff hadn't been paid. And so the union went to the customers and said, look, you know, you've had the stuff we've made, can you just give us the money? You know, just give it to the union so that we can pay the staff, the people who've actually done the work. And we're talking a minuscule amount, you know, I don't know what it was, $30,000 or something, was 2 months' wages for the entire workforce. And a few of them got together and paid the money. And Specialized said, nah, we're not going to pay. And so the idea that they have to charge you these absolutely exorbitant amounts of money is just not true. But they know they can do it because they know most people will pay it just to have that logo. I found it quite amusing once when I was in Thailand, because they literally drag you off the street into their shop. And they say, oh, we've got shirts, we've got your size. And okay. And they give you these polo shirts and you choose the ones you like, and then they say, okay, what logo do you want on it? You can have Nike, Reebok, Tommy Hilfiger, whatever you want. But of course the big question is, what brands are worth paying extra for and which ones aren't? And a lot of that just comes down to trial and error and recommendations from other people. But the manufacturers will carry on selling you these things because they can. There's a psychological thing. I've spoken about it before. I don't know what the exact psychological term is, but people actually like spending money on their hobby. The more they spend on it, the more they feel like they're getting out of it. Will you go faster if you get that new Castelli jersey? Probably not. But you'll feel like you are. And when people ride up next to you, they'll know you're a serious cyclist. And brand loyalty? Well, as I said, that's something that affects everybody, including me, which is why I'm wearing my giant branded suit, because it says something about you. It says, I've assessed all the brands, and this is the one for me. It's a bit of a statement, really. You're getting something that you wear when you're off the bike, and that just gives a little nod to those in the know. Those that don't know means nothing to them, but that doesn't matter. But if somebody comes towards you and you're wearing your Pinarello cap, they'll just give you a little nod. Kindred spirits, we're both cyclists. So I'm not saying don't buy branded clothing, I'm not saying don't spend as much as you want on clothing, because the feeling is something you can't put a monetary value on. If it makes you feel good, well, then that's up to you. It's worth the money.